Welcome to Light Novel Sound, where we bring your favorite light novels to life through immersive audiobooks that you can listen to for free. Today, we're diving into Solo Farming in the Tower, a fantasy adventure written by Lee Hak-young and originally published on lightnovelworld.co. This story follows Sejun, an ordinary young man who stumbles into a mysterious dungeon filled with dangerous monsters and untold riches. But when he gets trapped in a hidden area with nothing but a handful of seeds, he must rely on his wits, resourcefulness, and determination to survive. Will he turn the odds in his favor, or will the tower claim yet another victim? If you enjoy this audiobook, please consider supporting the original author by reading Solo Farming in the Tower on lightnovelworld.co. Every bit of support helps keep these amazing stories going. And if you like what we do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement helps us bring more incredible stories to life. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. Chapter 51, Making Mattang. As Sejun pulled on the sweet potato stem. Squeak! Following the sweet potato stem, golden sweet potatoes emerged, lighting up the surroundings. You have simultaneously harvested 15 golden sweet potatoes. Your job experience has increased slightly. Your proficiency in harvesting LV4 has increased slightly. Due to the effect of proficiency increase LV1, your proficiency in harvesting LV4 has increased by an additional 5%. You have gained 450 experience points. You have leveled up. You have acquired 1 bonus stat. Phew! It's done. Sejun, who had finished harvesting all the sweet potatoes including the golden sweet potatoes that he planted last, leveled up to level 19. He increased his magic power from the bonus stat. His plan was to increase magic power until he unsealed the rainfall and throw thunder of the rain thunder skill. After all the harvesting was done, Sejun went to the kitchen where he was preparing dinner. The rabbits were already boiling and roasting the harvested potatoes and sweet potatoes while preparing other dishes. Let's have dinner now. Squeak! Yawn! The rabbits, who had been waiting for Sejun's work to finish, started to busily serve food. Just then, Kwang! Kwang! A sorrowful cry of Quenji came from outside the cave. Quenji is fighting with his mom because he doesn't want to go home, meow. Theo interpreted Quenji's words. He still hasn't gone home? He said he would eat the potatoes and sweet potatoes and then leave, meow. It seemed that Quenji, having seen the harvested potatoes and sweet potatoes in the cave, was throwing a tantrum to eat them before leaving. Sejun filled the large basket made by the grey rabbits with potatoes and golden sweet potatoes and brought them up to the surface. Eat this today and we'll eat again tomorrow. Got it? When Sejun handed the basket to Quenji. Growl. Having gotten what he wanted, Quenji nodded at Sejun's words and quickly climbed onto his mom, the crimson giant bear's, head. Ah! Should I have told him not to eat the basket? Sejun belatedly realized he hadn't warned Quenji about the basket, but by that time, the mom, crimson giant bear, had gone too far to be caught. Great black dragon. Should I go tell him not to eat the basket? Elka approached Sejun and spoke. No, it's okay. Are you hungry? Let's eat quickly. While Sejun was preparing food for Quenji, the rabbits brought food for the wolves. Thank you. Great black dragon. It's too long. Just call me Sejun from now on. Understood. Sejun. I will enjoy the dinner. After Sejun and the rabbits prepared meals for Quenji and the wolves, finally everyone sat around the kitchen area in a circle for dinner. In front of Sejun and the rabbits were dishes and bowls made by the grey rabbits from woven green onion leaves, filled with food. They originally ate with food placed on top of green onion leaves, but this felt different. Even though it was just made by weaving green onion leaves, it seemed completely different. Snap! I'm hungry, meow. Theo naturally climbed onto Sejun's lap. Let's eat. With Sejun's words, the rabbits began to eat the food in front of them. And then, here. This is delicious, meow. Sejun fed Theo, pulling apart grilled fish and putting it in his mouth. At first, Sejun was annoyed when Theo climbed onto his lap. But now, he naturally accepted feeding him grilled fish. Pooh hut. Everything is going according to plan, meow. On the 213th day of being stranded, Theo's day passed peacefully. Kuung. As morning came, Quenji stuck his head into the cave. All right. Sejun got up, added one more stroke to the wall, and started the morning of the 214th day. He quickly washed his face, and breakfast was leftover sweet potatoes from yesterday. Today was going to be as busy as yesterday, if not busier. Because the land was empty after harvesting the crops, new crops had to be planted. So, Sejun and the rabbits had a simple breakfast and started morning farming. Sejun tried to give Theo work again today, but I can't, meow. Representative Theo is going to utilize his talent, meow. Theo started to pack his bag with magical cherry tomatoes and power sweet potatoes in preparation for the next business trip. Since there were still a few potatoes, it seemed like the amount of harvest that could be sold would come out at the next harvest. Take some detoxifying green onion too. There might be hunters who want it. Got it, meow. Since the detoxifying green onion was overgrown every time the root was divided and replanted, Sejun told him to take 100 detoxifying green onions. Theo didn't think detoxifying green onions would sell, but he packed it anyway because it was Sejun's word. Because Sejun's words were the truth. While Theo was packing, Sejun quickly harvested the cherry tomatoes and took about 10,000 sweet potato stems to plant on the surface. Cooing. Creak. When he got to the surface, Quenji was playing with the wolves. It seemed like he finally found opponents of his level. And next to him was the basket that Quenji had carried yesterday. It was there intact. Thankfully, he didn't eat the basket and brought it as it was. Guys! Help me! Sejun, with Quenji and the wolves, went to an empty field next to the green onion field, which was covered with green onion leaves to prevent moisture evaporation. Please remove the green onion leaves. Yes, Sejun sir. As the wolves removed the green onion leaves out of the way, Quenji also excitedly followed the wolves, picking up green onion leaves and stacking them neatly. Since he always collected green onion leaves from the green onion field and got to eat honey, he thought it was the same this time. So while the wolves and Quenji were removing the green onion leaves, Sejun planted the sweet potato stems. Fuck! After poking a hole with his dagger to make room for the sweet potato stem, all he had to do was put in the sweet potato stem and cover the hole. You have planted sweet potato sprouts. Due to the effect of sowing LV4, the probability that the sweet potato sprouts will take root increases slightly. Due to the effect of sowing LV4, the probability of pest damage decreases slightly. Your job experience has increased slightly. Your proficiency of sowing LV4 slightly increases. Due to the effect of proficiency increase LV1, your proficiency sowing LV4 has increased by an additional 5%. While Sejun was busy planting the sweet potato sprouts, Kuyang. Having finished his work, Quenji came over with a glass jar. I got it. He poured one dollop of honey for Quenji and looked around to see the wolves scratching the ground and looking elsewhere. Come here too. We're fine. The wolves shook their heads in denial. But they couldn't fool Sejun. Their tails were wagging vigorously in response. Come quickly. Upon Sejun's firm words. Yes. The wolves came running pretending to be helpless. Here. Sejun poured honey onto the fallen green onion leaves and gave it to the wolves. Slurp. 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 Excited by the taste of honey for the first time, the wolves began to eat without thinking. Then, Kuyang. Quenji, who had finished his honey, tried to steal the wolves' honey by pushing his head in between them. Quenji, no. When Sejun strongly stopped Quenji, Quenji turned away in frustration. But it was just a tantrum in Sejun's eyes. We're going to eat something even tastier than honey potatoes for lunch. Kuyang, At Sejun's murmuring, Quenji responded by turning about 30 degrees. Something tastier than honey potatoes? But this is a food that causes trouble if a bad bear who steals other people's food eats it. It's a pity, but Quenji can't eat it. Kuyang. Kuyang. At Sejun's shocking words, Quenji turned around hastily and shook his front paws in denial. Quenji is not a bad bear. I didn't steal anyone else's food. I got it. I thought our Quenji was a bad bear who steals others' food. I'm sorry for misunderstanding. Instead, I'll give you 5 times more than the others at lunch. Since Quenji already ate more than 10 times as much as the rabbits, there wasn't much difference. Kuyang. Quenji, who was quickly pleased by Sejun's words, went back to picking up the green onion leaves energetically. I should go cook. He originally planned to eat something simple, but since he told Quenji, he had to make something tastier than honey potatoes. Well, this can't be not delicious. The dish Sejun wanted to make since he harvested the sweet potatoes for lunch was mat tang to the power of 1. He couldn't eat it due to the lack of ingredients and tools, but now he had the conditions to make perfect mat tang. Sejun decided to make a new dish by adding potatoes to it. I'll name it potato mat tang. Sejun went down to the cave, washed potatoes and sweet potatoes, and started boiling them with 3 pots. And as he was taking out the boiled potatoes and sweet potatoes, Representative Park, what are you doing? Theo, who had finished packing goods, approached Sejun. Oh, welcome, Representative Theo. Pooh hut. Am I that welcome, meow? Of course, you are. Can you cut these with your claws? Sejun pointed to the potatoes and sweet potatoes. Pooh hut. That's nothing to Representative Theo, meow. The strongest in the cave was ready to show off his abilities. However, you're just going to cut it. Yes, what's the problem, meow? You have to wash your claws. Sejun caught him in the act of poor hygiene. Understood, meow. Theo quickly washed his claws in the pond and showed off his skills by cutting the potatoes and sweet potatoes. President Park. Look at my brilliant front paw skill, meow. While Theo was busy working, Sejun started heating up the pots. Whoosh. The fire was so strong that the pot quickly heated up. Good. As soon as the pot was heated, Sejun put a chunk of fat from a giant electric eel that he had set aside into the pot. Sizzle. The fat melted into a liquid, giving off a delicious sound and a savory aroma. Rumble. Sejun started frying the potatoes and sweet potatoes in the pot. It tastes crispy and slightly gooey when you eat fried potatoes. To create that texture, you have to fry the outside. The fried potatoes and sweet potatoes were moved to a leaf plate. And as soon as the frying was done, honey was put in the pot and boiled. And as the honey caramelized and turned brown, the potatoes and sweet potatoes were put back in and stirred as if they were being coated. Gradually, honey coated the surface of the potatoes and sweet potatoes, making them glisten. Done. As Sejun finished the dish by cooling down the potatoes and sweet potatoes. Achievement unlocked. Reproducing the forgotten dish, potato mat tang in the tower. Achievement unlocked. Reproducing the forgotten dish, mat tang in the tower. The recipe for the potato mat tang dish will be registered in Cooking LV1. The recipe for the mat tang dish will be registered in Cooking LV1. The proficiency of Cooking LV1 greatly increases. The proficiency of Cooking LV1 is filled, and your level rises. His cooking skill level increased as he achieved achievements. However, unfortunately, the potato mat tang dish that Sejun developed was not recognized by the tower. When Sejun was making the potato mat tang dish again. Can I fry some fish here too, meow? Theo came with a piranha and pointed to the oil that was still being used to fry potatoes and sweet potatoes. Fish lovers instinctively know it. The combination of fish and oil. All right. Sizzle. Here you go. As the fire was strong, Sejun quickly fried the piranha in the hot oil and handed the fried fish to Theo. It's delicious, meow. After tasting the piranha fried in eel oil, Theo decided to take his weekly salary in fried fish. A while later, when lunch preparation was finished. Let's have lunch. At Sejun's call, the rabbits rushed over and jumped up to the surface with potato and sweet potato dishes in their baskets. Coo! Eng! Coo! Eng! Excited at the thought of eating something more delicious than honey potatoes, Quenji eagerly pulled up the basket, drooling. And then it was lunchtime. Cooing! After tasting the potato and sweet potato dish, which was even more delicious than honey potatoes as Sejun said, Quenji did not casually snatch other people's food afterwards. On the 214th day of being stranded, Quenji learned that he should wait to be offered food, not snatch it away. It was a slightly different understanding from Sejun's intention. Chapter 52. Eileen was recently engrossed in the fun of feeling the beating of the dragon heart on her own. The dragon heart was beating even if she didn't eat anything. Thump. Oh! It's beating. Thud. It's beating again. Although very slow, it was steadily beating. Although the pulse was too weak to accumulate mana, Eileen was very happy just that the dragon heart was beating. This is all thanks to the amazing human. Anyway, what is the amazing human doing? Eileen Pratani, the great black dragon, need to take care of him. As her thoughts turned to Sejun, Eileen became curious what he was doing. He might have been using potentially dangerous unidentified items in the meantime. Or he might be eating something delicious alone. No way! I can't forgive that. Eating something delicious without her. The mere thought made her angry. At that time. Hey! Achievement, recreation of the forgotten dish, potato matang, has been achieved in the tower. Achievement, recreation of the forgotten dish, matang, has been achieved in the tower. He. He's recreating a new dish for me. That amazing human did something amazing again. I should ask for it right away. Eileen hurriedly ran to the crystal ball. However, there are over 1,000 unread alerts. Please organize your alerts. The crystal ball's alarm interrupted Eileen. I'm busy. Eileen quickly skipped the alarms without even reading them. Among them, there were red alerts warning of danger, but she quickly skipped them, determined to eat the new dish as soon as possible. And then, he. Let me, Eileen Pratani, the great black dragon, see what the amazing human has made. Eileen hurriedly checked through the crystal ball to see what Sejun was eating. When Sejun's stomach was somewhat full. The tower's administrator has come, drooling at the rumors of the matang and potato matang. A message from Eileen appeared. You should have answered when I called you earlier. It's all cold now. The tower's administrator says they were busy. All right. Give me a quest. A quest has been generated. Quest, serve the sweet potato dish and potato dish to the tower's administrator. Reward, Eileen eats the food very deliciously. If declined, Eileen will be very disappointed. There are pots covered with lids in the cave. You can take that. With Sejun's words, the quest was completed. The tower's administrator is very grateful for letting her eat something delicious. The tower's administrator says it's so sweet and she's full of energy. Full of energy? It must be because she ate the power sweet potato and power potato. Sejun and the animals were also overflowing with energy right now. That's right. Eat a lot. After lunch and a nap with Theo, the black rabbit, and Quenji, Sejun started planting the remaining sweet potato stems that he couldn't finish in the morning. In the afternoon, other rabbits who had finished their own work joined together to plant sweet potato sprouts, quickly completing the sweet potato field. You have created a 2,500 square meter sweet potato field. You have gained 5,000 experience points. Phew. That's done. Now onto the onion field. Just as Sejun was about to move to the onion field. Peng! The black rabbit called Sejun to pull up the aquatic products. Got it. As Sejun went down to the cave, he saw something he hadn't seen before in front of the pond. It was a net made of straw. "Did you guys make this?" When Sejun asked while looking at the gray rabbits. "Beep. Bilik. Bimik. Pyong. He." Among the gray rabbits nodding in response to Sejun's question, there was also a single red dotted rabbit. To be precise, it was sticking right next to the architect rabbit. He wanted to ask what had happened with the sickle rabbit, but it was still young. At this age, its mind would go back and forth several times a day. Instead, he thought that he should give a carrot to the sickle rabbit as a sign of comfort when thump, peng. The black rabbit called Sejun as it went into the pond with the net. "I'm going in now." "Okay." Sejun grabbed the rope. A moment later, peng, peng. There was a signal to pull the rope twice. "Hoist." The net was so heavy that it must have caught a lot. Sejun pulled up the net with all his might. Fortunately, from the middle, the black rabbit helped reduce the weight by moving the aquatic products caught in the net to the pond. In this way, about 100 piranhas and crayfish were pulled up with the net. It was tough, but it was easier to catch aquatic products than before. "Let's do it a few more times." Peng! At Sejun's words, the black rabbit went into the water without delay. Although 100 were enough, even with the low water temperature, there was a limit to preventing spoilage, so it seemed best to eat them quickly. Moreover, they always lacked food for the crimson giant bear and baby bear. There was no need to worry about leftovers. Thus, the baby bear and the mother crimson giant bear were able to fill their bellies with the meal served by Sejun. Jia! 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 Thump, thump. After having a hearty dinner, the happy mother crimson giant bear and the cub cheerfully returned home. Sejun went fishing for aquatic products with the black rabbit again. The catch was to be given to the wolves of the silver wolf tribe. In the meantime, under Sejun's instructions, the gray rabbits made bags out of straw for the wolves to carry. They made bags that could be carried on both sides of the body, planning to use them for Theo's journey later on. The wolves took the piranhas, crayfish, and chunks of eel in these bags and went down to the 85th floor of the tower. Since they had to depart for a journey with Theo tomorrow morning, there was no time but today. And so, a busy day passed. Kuung. Today, as usual, Quenji announced his arrival with a powerful cry. "All right." Whoosh. Sejun added a line to the cave wall, starting the 215th day of being stranded. It's already the day the seed store opens. I wonder what will appear. Sejun prepared for the day, anticipating what seeds he would buy. Gulp. He started the day simply with some sweet potatoes and a few cherry tomatoes for breakfast. His plan for the day was to plant potatoes. Thud. Thud. Sejun placed potatoes on a flat rock he found above ground, then proceeded to cut them. The eyes have to be attached like this, right? Instead of cutting the potatoes into exact quarters, he cut them into 2 to 4 pieces of an appropriate size so the eyes of the potatoes wouldn't be overly concentrated. Previously, when he couldn't communicate with the male rabbit, he couldn't have a conversation, but after he began to understand the male rabbit, he was able to learn more detailed farming knowledge. Whir. Sejun scooped the potato seeds he cut into a cross bag made of straw. The gray rabbits were skilled with their hands, so they could make it as similar as possible to the style Sejun wanted. Thus, next to the sweet potato field he planted yesterday, Sejun started planting the potato seeds. Of course, he asked Quenji to clear away the straw covering the empty field. Kuung. Quenji was pleased to be given a job by Sejun and vigorously fluttered the straw. To be precise, he was happy about the honey he would get after finishing the task. Poke. Sejun made a hole in the ground with his dagger, took a potato seed from the cross bag, and planted it so the eyes were facing upwards. As the amount of seeds that could fit in the cross bag wasn't that large, Sejun went back and forth planting the potatoes earnestly. And when he planted about half of the potatoes, seed shop is now open. Your level is ordinary. 4 types of seeds for sale today will be displayed randomly. At your current level, You can buy as many seeds as you want within the limit 5 tower coins. The seed store opened and the seeds available for purchase today appeared. Flame bean seed X1, 5 tower coins. Carrot seed X20,000, 4 tower coins. Strawberry seed 100 PCs, 0.5 tower coins. Green pepper seed X100, 0.5 tower coins. Flame bean seed. It was a whopping 5 tower coins for just one seed. Even though he had enough money, he could only buy within the limit of 5 tower coins, so if he bought the flame bean seed, he wouldn't be able to buy anything else. I should stick with what I know. Sejun's pondering was brief. He decided to buy multiple items he knew well rather than buying one thing he was unfamiliar with. You have purchased 20,000 carrot seeds. You have purchased 100 strawberry seeds. You have purchased 100 green pepper seeds. 5 tower coins have been deducted from your seed bank account. You have earned 50 seed shop loyalty points. You now have a total of 56 seed shop loyalty points. Clink. 3 leather pouches containing seeds appeared in Sejun's hand. Thank you for using the seed shop. You can use seed shop LV2 again in 30 days. I've got a lot to plant now. His workload had increased, but Sejun's face was bright. Imagining eating strawberries and green peppers gave him a surge of energy. I'll leave the carrot seeds to the rabbits. There was a vast field prepared by the black minotaurs and shovel rabbits over the past few days, and given the rabbits' passion for carrots, they would plant all the carrot seeds even if it meant cutting back on sleep. Thus, when Sejun had planted all 4,000 potatoes and finished planting strawberries and green peppers in the cave. Mr. Sejun, we've arrived. The wolves had returned after delivering food to the wolves on the 85th floor of the tower. Take a break. Sejun let the wolves who had traveled all the way to the 85th floor of the tower rest for a while, and he separated the bags carried by the wolves and took them down to the cave. And then, Representative Theo. Sejun called Theo, who was busily eating churro in the corner. What's up, meow? Is it break time, meow? Theo, who had been eating churro, ran towards Sejun's lap. No, let's pack this together. Sejun picked up Theo, who was hanging on his knee, and walked to the storage. Then, together with Theo, they packed the cherry tomatoes he had harvested yesterday into a bag. The bag carried by the wolves didn't have a preservation spell like Theo's bag, so they packed it with the most recently harvested ones. In this way, they re-equipped the wolves with 6 bags, each containing 100 cherry tomatoes. Take care, Representative Theo. I got it, meow. We'll sell out again, meow. Subordinates, let's go now, meow. Mr. Sejun, we'll be back. All right. Elka, Bol, Kish, you guys take care too. Theo and the wolves went down the tower with Sejun's farewell. Phew, now it's time to prepare lunch. Sejun went to the pond and with Black Rabbit, they scooped up piranhas and crayfish with a net. Though still edible, unlike yesterday, the eyes of the piranha seemed a bit cloudy, which suggested that they were starting to decompose. He felt the need to hurry. Though food poisoning wouldn't be a problem with detoxifying green onions available, he didn't want to risk eating spoiled food. But I don't want to eat it that bad. Thinking this, Sejun pulled up the net. Splash! What was brought up in the net this time was a chunks of eel flesh. Black Rabbit went into the pond, took a breath, and went back out again. Then, when a small piece of eel was cut with Sejun's dagger and put in a hole, the other rabbits took the eel to grill it. Afterwards, Black Rabbit only brought up chunks of eel in the net. Does Black Rabbit want to eat eel? As Sejun thought this. What? Pang! The rope connected to the net began to be pulled strongly, enough to drag Sejun's body. Chapter 53. Floor 67 of the tower. It was a swamp on all sides. Croak. Croak. Thud. A lizardman hunter hit the head of a 1M-sized giant frog with an arrow. Kerek, kerek. The lizardman hunter laughed happily, having successfully hunted a large prey after a long time. From the 61st to the 70th floor of the tower was the lizardmen's territory, where they lived by hunting large frogs and snakes from the swamp. Then, Sejun, a red locust, about 20 centimeters in size, sat on the corpse of the frog that the lizardman hunter had hunted. And then, Sejun, the red locust began to eat by cutting the frog's skin with its large jaws as if with scissors. Sejun, the lizardman hunter rushed at the red locust that touched his prey and killed it with a dagger. And then, Sejun, the lizardman hunter tore off one of the red locust's legs and tasted it to see if he could eat it. Sejun, the lizardman hunter laughed happily, finding the taste better than expected. In the meantime, Sejun, several more red locusts flew in and began to eat the corpses of the giant frog and their fallen comrade. The lizardman hunter was so busy eating that he didn't even notice the locusts, allowing him to easily hunt them down. However, Sejun, more red locusts flew in to eat the bodies of the frog and their fallen comrade, increasing their numbers to hundreds. Sejun, feeling fear as the red locusts became too numerous, the lizardman hunter was about to return home when the sky turned red. Sejun? When the lizardman hunter looked at the sky, feeling something strange, he saw that the sky was filled with so many swarms of red locusts that the sun could no longer be seen. Then, Sejun, about 100,000 red locusts that had separated from the swarm headed for the swamp where the lizardman hunter was, and shortly after, nothing was left there. The black rabbit, as usual, sent up the piranhas and crayfish in the net to prepare a meal. Today, Quenji requested a full meal of eel, so to show off his big brother's dignity, the black rabbit moved pieces of eel flesh in the net several times. And while he was riding the current down again, Sejun, a small vibration accompanied a sound. Bang! When the black rabbit looked at where the sound came from. Here! What's that? A green light was flowing from a gap between the giant electric eel and the wall, then disappeared. Curious, the black rabbit started cutting the eel's body that was blocking the wall where the green light was flowing. And then, Sejun, as the black rabbit cut through the skin of the giant electric eel on the opposite side, creating a hole in the eel's body. Pahat! A green light came in through the hole. Then, Sejun, bang! With the vibration, the calm flow of water suddenly became rough, and the black rabbit was sucked in beyond the hole in the body of the eel. However, Chulong, the black rabbit's leg got tangled up in the net. It was an enormous relief. If it weren't for the net, the black rabbit would have been swept away by the current in an instant. As soon as the black rabbit confirmed he was safe, he took a closer look at where the green light was coming from. What is that? There was an underwater cave where the giant electric eel had been blocking. The green light was flowing from beyond the underwater cave. When the water flow stopped and the green light disappeared, the black rabbit pulled the rope twice. Black rabbit! Sejun pulled the rope and pulled up the black rabbit along with the net. He had been worried because of the strong force pulling on the rope earlier. Sejun hastily untied the black rabbit's leg tied to the net and carefully placed the black rabbit on his two palms. Bang! There's a cave down there that leads somewhere else. The black rabbit on Sejun's hand said, in a state of exhaustion. A cave? Squeak! Squeak! Yes. It's an underwater cave that emits a green light. A green light emitting underwater cave? Eileen, do you know anything about it? Sejun asked Eileen, the tower's administrator. The tower's administrator says that it is a passage connected to the Sea of Dimensions. The Sea of Dimensions? The tower's administrator says the tower is connected through the Sea of Dimensions. The tower's administrator says there are very scary underwater monsters living in the Sea of Dimensions. The tower's administrator says that if the black rabbit had been swept into the Sea of Dimensions, he would have lost his life. There was such a thing. At Eileen's words, Sejun thought it was fortunate that the black rabbit came back safely. In this way, they ate the seafood that the black rabbit had risked his life to bring back for lunch. Kuyong. Quenji took a whole piece of eel meat and chewed it. "Thank you, brother." Squeak! The black rabbit coolly gave a thumbs up. "I told you to trust your brother." Even though he almost died just now, the black rabbit thought his big brother's dignity was more important. After lunch, Sejun increased the proficiency of creating thunderclouds while resting with the black rabbit and Quenji. And when he came down to harvest the tomatoes in the cave. "Hey! Kiambong! Kiambong!" The pond was filled with underwater monsters. When the body of the giant electric eel blocking the underwater cave disappeared, and the water started flowing properly, they were inflow through the underwater cave connected to the Sea of Dimensions. Squeak! Excited by the appearance of the piranha that will supply experience points and protein, the black rabbit jumped into the pond. And then, glad to see you. There was also a new monster in the pond. It was a monster with a pointy end like a rocket, a long body as long as an arm, and 10 legs. Black rabbit, nice. Sejun also hurriedly ran into the pond and caught the new monster. You have defeated the squid. You have gained 3 experience points. Today's lunch is squid soup and stir-fried squid. Sejun thought that the very scary underwater monster might be talking about even more delicious food. He became interested in the Sea of Dimensions. A sea full of all kinds of rare and delicious fish. However, it's difficult for now. To go to the Sea of Dimensions, thorough preparation was needed. Sejun promised himself for the future and focused on catching squid. You have a new notification. Queuing. Eileen, who had been watching Sejun in case he decided to venture into the dimensional sea, pressed the ominous red notification that appeared on the crystal orb screen. 53, 128, 137, 12 red locusts have invaded the 67th floor of the tower. Red locusts? Eileen was shocked when she saw the alert. It had been almost 100 years since the last locust invasion in the tower. At that time, her grandfather had resolved the issue while Eileen, unable to leave the administrator's space, could only watch. What should I do? Eileen couldn't open a portal connected to the outside of the tower with her abilities. While Eileen was struggling, 0.01% of the 67th floor has been devastated by the red locusts. 1.2% of the 67th floor has been devastated by the red locusts. The alarms came in rapidly. The red locusts that had invaded the 67th floor were devouring everything alive. 218th day of being stranded. It would be nice to have some gochujang or mayonnaise. Choo-choo. Sejun mused regretfully while chewing on semi-dried squid. Ever since the underwater cave connected to the dimensional sea had opened, piranhas and squids were abundant in the pond. And so, Sejun had strung up the caught squids on green onion leaves, creating semi-dried squids, a new snack after the dried sweet potato. How is it? Sejun asked, looking at the architect rabbit examining the mud. Sejun was currently touring the Black Minotaur's territory with the black rabbit and the architect rabbit. Beep! The architect rabbit nodded his head. This is enough. The reason Sejun came all the way to the Black Minotaur's territory despite being busy with farming was because of the mud. When Sejun had previously visited this place, he had thought about making mud bricks upon seeing the mud, and with the joining of the architect rabbit, he decided to start making the mud bricks in earnest. Good. Sejun filled the brick mold, made by the wood craftsman rabbit, with mud. The wood was procured with the help of Mother Crimson Giant Bear. When Sejun asked Mother Crimson Giant Bear for wood, she brought back 2 logs the next day, each almost as thick as Sejun's body. The inside of the wood was a deep red like blood, which was strange, but the grey rabbit said it was good wood. Sweep. After filling the mold and smoothing the overflowing mud. And when the brick mold was removed, clunk. The mud retained its shape, forming a perfect square mud brick. Now all he had to do was dry the mud brick until it hardened. The mud brick was made incredibly easily. Shall we just make about 100,000 for now? Sejun casually mentioned a number that would take tens of days of continuous work to achieve. Of course, he didn't care. He wasn't going to make them himself. There were plenty of spare laborers in the area, rolling mud into their mouths, so he didn't need to do it himself. Sejun made a new deal with the Minotaur King to receive mud bricks in exchange for green onion leaves. As large brick molds for the black minotaurs were already being made, they decided to send them with the black minotaurs returning after the day's work. What should we make first? Like playing Minecraft, Sejun returned to the cave and joyfully imagined what he could build with the bricks. Then, after having grilled fish and stir-fried squid for lunch, just as he was about to start his afternoon work. Sejun suddenly remembered that he had not planted the golden sweet potatoes. I should plant them quickly and harvest the cherry tomatoes. Sejun went to the storage to get the harvested golden sweet potatoes. But, hey! Where did they all go? There were no golden sweet potatoes that had been stored in the storage. On the rooftop of the Korean Awakened Association building, built right next to the Black Tower, two robust men were looking down at Gangnam downtown. What forces have contacted Park Sejun's family? President Han Tae-jun asked his eldest disciple, Si Si-hyuk, exhaling a puff of smoke from his cigarette. 23 countries including the United States, Japan, and China are monitoring Park Sejun's family. I have quietly dealt with the people from the 3 countries who attempted kidnapping. Well done. Is it Dong-sik's shift now to protect them? Yes. Tell Dong-sik to come see me during his shift change. Han Tae-jun planned to send Kim Dong-sik on an errand to get more magical cherry tomatoes. Eating the magical cherry tomatoes given by Kim Dong-sik increased one's magic power, making it a little easier to overcome the curse of flame and making external activities much more comfortable. Above all, they were delicious. Yes. While they were talking for about 10 minutes, sizzle. Blisters began to form on Han Tae-jun's finger, accompanied by a burning sound and the appearance of a burn-like wound. Damn it. This curse. Master, are you okay? What's all the fuss about this? Just go. Yes. Cha Si-hyuk sadly looked at his master, Han Tae-jun, descending from the rooftop. In the past, he could stay active outside for about an hour, but now he struggled even after 20 minutes. There must be a way. Cha Si-hyuk determined to find a way to break his master's curse. Why is this here, meow? Sitting on Elka's back and checking his inventory, Theo looked at the golden sweet potato in his inventory that was emitting light with a perplexed expression. Sejun had clearly said that he would plant the golden sweet potato. It seemed like he might have put it in the inventory without thinking when he was packing sweet potatoes. Mr. Theo, what's the matter? It's nothing, meow. There's no problem, meow. At Elka's question, Theo hastily replied. I can't show any weaknesses to my subordinates, meow. I am the perfect Theo, meow. While Theo was thinking about how to handle the golden sweet potato, Elka entered the entrance of the merchant route leading from the 60th floor to the 50th floor. Chapter 54, Evolution. 75th floor of the tower. Office of the Chairman of the Wandering Merchant Association, Mason, a Fox Tribe member. Hannibal, the Chairman of the Freelance Mercenaries Association, a Tiger Tribe member. Iona, the Chairman of the Wizards Association, a Hamster Tribe member. The heads of the 3 major powers that influence all floors of the tower have gathered. It's been 5 days since the red locusts appeared on the 67th floor of the tower. According to our information, 2/3 of the 67th floor has been devastated by the red locusts. Currently, the lizard men are desperately defending around the waypoint. Mason relayed the information he had gathered. Why isn't the great black dragon intervening? Iona asked with a worried voice. Honestly, I don't know. But we can't just wait like this. This could lead to another famine like 100 years ago. The Great Famine of 100 years ago started when the red locusts invaded the 55th floor of the tower, the greatest grain-producing area in the tower. There had been invasions by the red locusts before, but the great black dragon always intervened, so the inhabitants of the tower didn't see it as a significant problem. However, for some reason, the Great Black Dragon appeared a few hours after the invasion of the Red Locusts that time. As a result, the Rabbit Kingdom, Red Ribbon, that ruled the 55th floor, perished. They were unlucky as the Red Locusts appeared above their kingdom. This caused a severe food shortage throughout the tower. That's right. It's only a matter of time before the waypoint gets overrun. If the Red Locusts occupy the waypoint on the 67th floor of the tower like this, they will soon start moving to the upper floors. Hannibal strongly agreed with Mason's statement. If the Red Locusts take over the waypoint on the 68th floor of the tower, the next will be the 69th floor. And on the 69th floor of the tower was a large drake farm owned by the Kingdom of the Lizard Men. That place was one of the 5 major grain-producing areas of the tower. This was not just a problem for the Lizard Men. As food supplies decrease, so does the circulation of food, leading to price increases, and those who can't afford food starve to death or turn into thieves. The overall order of the tower collapses. They had already experienced it once, so they knew very well how severe the damage would be. The Wandering Merchant Association will provide materials equivalent to 1 million tower coins in military expenses. The Freelance Mercenary Alliance will dispatch 10,000 mercenaries. The Wizards Association will send 200 war mags. Thus, reinforcements set off to stop the Red Locusts on the 67th floor of the tower. 38th floor of the tower. When the heck is the cat Wandering Merchant coming? Let's wait a little longer. If he doesn't show up today, we'll leave. 5 hunters were waiting for Theo at a crossroad he would pass before arriving at the trading place. They were kidnappers who aimed to capture Theo and find the location of the farm with the magical cherry tomatoes, as they were selling at a high price recently. At that moment, meow meow meow. The sound of Theo's humming could be heard. He's coming. The hunters quickly hid behind the wall. And then, it's time. Just as the hunters were about to pounce towards Theo, growling, "How dare you lay hands on Representative Theo?" Growling, "Pitiful fools." Suddenly, 2 silver wolves appeared behind them, slightly exposing their fangs and growling. What the? The hunters were startled by their presence and fainted. Meow meow meow. Money is rolling in, meow. Theo took the hunter's thumbs and stamped them on a contract while humming. Pooh hut. You targeted me, so pay me a lot of money, meow. In Theo's head, there was a formula: the enemy attacking me equals the enemy giving me money. Pooh hut. Park Sejun said my life is worth 10,000 tower coins, meow. You guys get 10,000 tower coins when they wake up here, meow. Theo planned to collect all the money that Sejun had valued his life at from the hunters. Yes. Theo left the hunters to the wolves and moved the cherry tomatoes that were in the wolves' bags to his bag. He made room in the bag by eating some food as he traveled. Well then, I'll be off, meow. Theo moved to the trading place. Day 220 of being stranded. Yumio. Finally, the completed mud bricks started to be delivered near Sejun's cave. Beep. Yumio. Whenever the architect Grey Rabbit indicated where to place the bricks, Black Minotaurus placed the bricks there. And then, swoosh. Sejun and the Grey Rabbit smeared mud around the bricks, filling the gaps between them. In no time, the floor of the house, about 30 square meters, was completed. And in between, they placed bricks and covered them completely with bricks. The first layer of bricks at the bottom was a space for making fire. Sejun made an ondol, Korean floor heating system, in the house. One might question why an ondol is necessary in a place that's not too cold, but with an ondol, you can remove the humidity inside the house and feel extremely refreshed after sweating it out on days when you feel sluggish. When they stacked a few more layers of bricks, the house was completed up to Sejun's waist height. However, there was one creature that looked at it with dissatisfaction. Cooing. It was Quenji. The entrance of the house was too narrow for Quenji to enter. Dad doesn't even consider me, I want to shrink and go into the house too. As Quenji was feeling sad. Swoosh. Quenji's wish came true and his body started to shrink. Cooing. Quenji looked at his shrinking body. And then, cooing. Quenji, who was excited, ran towards Sejun and threw himself. Dad, I've shrunk. However. Thump. Cough. Sejun felt like he was hit by a large truck and flew into the green onion field. Quenji had shrunk in size, but his weight remained the same. If the leeks hadn't absorbed the shock, he would have been thrown much farther. Thud. Thud. Sejun, who seemed to have momentarily visited the afterlife, opened his eyes feeling a bit faint. Cooing. Quenji was happy to see Sejun open his eyes. What happened to you? Sejun asked, looking at the shrunken Quenji. He had become as small as when Sejun first saw him. Cooing. Cooing. I don't know. I just became smaller. At that moment. Hey! Sejun saw the change in the name above Quenji's head. Crimson Giant Honey Bear. Honey Bear. Quenji had evolved into a honey bear. Can't you grow back again? Sejun asked anxiously. He had a hunch that if Quenji couldn't grow back, he might get scolded by the mother Crimson Giant Bear, who might ask what he had done to her child. Could it lead to his death? Cooing. Quenji shook his head and returned to his original size. No, he grew to 5 becoming bigger than before. Quenji had unconsciously shrunk because he wanted to stay with Sejun and wished to become smaller. Wow! Sejun marveled at Quenji, who could freely adjust his size. Hey! Then Sejun realized the seriousness of the situation. The storage in the cave. Until now, it had been safe because Quenji couldn't enter the cave, but if Quenji started coming in and out of the cave, the stored crops would be at risk. Black Rabbit. As Sejun looked down at the cave and called for the Black Rabbit. Piang! The Black Rabbit, who had been hunting enthusiastically in the pond, came up to the ground. From now on, stay with Quenji. Got it. Piang. Cooing. At Sejun's words, they responded energetically and ran off joyfully. Where are they going? Sejun meant that Black Rabbit should keep an eye on Quenji, but they took it as permission to play together. So, after assigning the Black Rabbit to watch Quenji, Sejun went down to the cave to prepare lunch. Today's menu was spicy stir-fried squid. When Sejun went down to the cave, there were already 30 squids, caught and cleaned by the Black Rabbit, waiting in the pond. As always, the Black Rabbit was reliable. Swish, swish. Sejun cut the squid into bite-sized pieces. And when he heated the pot and put in the last piece of eel fat. SSSSSS. The fat melted, turning into oil and releasing a savory smell. Chop, chop, chop. Sejun began to make onion oil by cutting up spring onions and frying them in the oil. Then, when the onion flavor had permeated the oil, he added the cleaned squid and stir-fried it together. After about 10 minutes of stir-frying, as the squid cooked and turned white, he added chili powder and other seasonings, and carrots to stir-fry together. A little while later, you have made spicy stir-fried squid. Your cooking LV2 proficiency has increased slightly. Due to the proficiency increase LV1, your cooking LV2 proficiency increases by an additional 5%. The recipe for spicy stir-fried squid is registered in cooking LV2. The spicy dish wasn't for the white and gray rabbits who couldn't handle spicy food, so they were served with boiled squid seasoned with salt, while Sejun, the Black Rabbit, and Quenji ate the spicy stir-fried squid together. Eileen, do you want some? Eileen had been unresponsive for some time now. What's going on? Just as Sejun was worried about Eileen. Pike. Cooing. After finishing their meal, the Black Rabbit and Quenji came to take a nap. Having grown small enough to climb on Sejun's lap, Quenji took over Sejun's lap along with the Black Rabbit. Peep yalong. Ko long. They fell asleep in no time. And when rest time was over. Ugh! Sejun's leg had gone numb under Quenji's weight, and he couldn't move for a while. Humans, I have arrived, meow. Theo, who was planning to earn 10,000 tower coins, appeared in the trading place with a cheerful voice. However, Why are there so few, meow? Fewer hunters were waiting than he expected, about 30 people. Just as Theo's good mood was about to turn sour. Theo, wait a minute. Yeah, our team members are coming. They'll be here in about 10 minutes. How dare you make the deadly yellow cat, Theo, wait, meow. I will wait exactly 1 hour, meow. Oh? Okay. Despite being angry, Theo was generous enough to wait for an hour. Yeah, it's me. Hurry up. Hurry up. Theo is here. The hunters hurriedly contacted their colleagues who had gone hunting nearby through their hunter phones. As more and more hunters continued to wait here, the representatives of each team discussed among themselves and decided to set up a camp here. It was a waste of time to just wait, so 1 to 2 members of each team stayed here to rest and wait for Theo, while the rest of the hunters went hunting. After a while, the hunters who had gone hunting returned. Then nearly 300 hunters gathered to trade. The auction was also attended by the Royal Knights Guild and the Wizard Guild, both hot on the heels of the Phoenix Guild. There are a lot of hunters, Leon commented as he looked at the gathered hunters. Thanks to Theo waiting for an hour, Leon, who was doing the antidote quest on the 36th floor, was also able to participate. Ever since he brought home the magical cherry tomato, his wife's attitude towards him had changed significantly, so he was determined to secure this item no matter what. Pooh hut. There are many customers, meow. Theo laughed when he saw 300 hunters. And then, today, I will sell a total of 6,000 C-grade magical cherry tomatoes, 500 each, through the auction, meow. What? C-grade? The hunters were excited by Theo's words. It had been a month since the D-grade magical cherry tomatoes were released. Just as the research results about the effects of the D-grade magical cherry tomatoes began to come out, people were surprised by their amazing efficacy. And now, C-grade? 350 tower coins for 500 pieces. Without even checking the options? Leon called out the price without even looking at the options. He intended to hurry and secure the bid and then return to the quest. Thus, the auction for the magical cherry tomatoes began at 0.7 tower coins per piece. And then, 500 pieces are sold for 600 tower coins, meow. The first auction ended with Leon buying the magical cherry tomatoes at a price of 1.2 tower coins each. Here they are, meow. Leon received the C-grade magical cherry tomatoes that Theo handed over and checked the options. Here. Leon's eyes widened at the option that increased magic power by 0.5. Not 0.3, but 0.5. If you eat 10 pieces, your magic power increases by 5. In Leon's mind, an A-grade item, the venomous spider's sharp fang sword, which he had stored in the warehouse due to usage restrictions because he was short of 5 magic, came to mind. If he could equip the venomous spider's sharp fang sword, his hunting speed would be 3 times faster than it is now. I will buy all the rest. 650 tower coins for 500 pieces. Leon changed his mind about winning the auction just once and participated in the auction again. And the hunters, who were sure after seeing Leon's changed attitude after seeing the options of the C-grade magical cherry tomatoes, also actively participated in the auction, earning Theo 8,900 tower coins through the auction. After the auction was over and the hunters were about to go hunting again. I have one more item to sell today, meow. It's the detoxifying green onion, meow. Theo took out the detoxifying green onion from his bag with an unconfident voice. Chapter 55, A Perfect Crime. Detoxifying green onion. Leon's head quickly turned, as he was rushing down to the first floor of the tower to get the venomous spider's sharp fang sword from the guild warehouse. The same was true for the other hunters. What? Detoxifying green onion? They were all stuck unable to climb the tower due to the deadly tarantula, the boss of the 38th floor. The cherry tomatoes sold by the cat merchant were already extraordinary, and it was impossible for the green onion to be ordinary. Furthermore, it had detoxification clearly in its name. Theo, Can we see the detoxifying green onion? I want to see it too. Me too. Show it to our wizard guild first. What are you talking about? We, Royal Knights, will see it first. The hunters from the Royal Knights Guild and Wizard Guild, aiming to break through the 38th floor first, excluding the Phoenix Guild, rushed towards Theo. Line up, meow. Theo arrogantly shouted as he put the detoxifying green onion back into his bag. His voice was full of confidence, having somehow regained it. Sejun's words are indeed the truth, meow. Seeing that the detoxifying green onion, which he didn't expect to sell, was hugely popular among the humans, Theo thought he should listen to Sejun's words once again. In the meantime, the hunters lined up in an orderly fashion according to Theo's words. Thanks to a concession by a guild member, Leon was able to stand third in line. Oh! It's real! The exclamation of the Royal Knights Guild hunter, who was first to verify the detoxifying green onion, could be heard. While Leon anxiously awaited his turn, the Royal Knights Guild hunter returned to his place with a grave face. Then they began to pool all the money they had. The determination to buy the detoxifying green onion, regardless of the cost, was evident on their faces. A little later, if this is... When the hunter of the Wizard Guild who checked the options of the detoxifying green onion turned back, the situation was similar. The members of the Wizard Guild also began to pool their money. What on earth could it be? Here it is, meow. Thanks. Finally, it was Leon's turn, and he checked the detoxifying green onion arrogantly handed over by Theo. Detoxifying green onion. A green onion grown inside the tower that is delicious due to ample nutrient absorption. Upon consumption, it detoxifies D-grade or lower poisons for an hour. When consumed by a non-awakener, the liver detoxification function becomes more active for 24 hours. Cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Expiration date, 60 days. Grade, D. D-grade. The detoxifying green onion was D-grade, different from the magical cherry tomatoes. However, that was enough. The toxic gas attack of the deadly tarantula gives E+ grade poison damage. It's deadly because it emits this poison gas once during combat. Theo, how many of these detoxifying green onions do you have? 100 pieces, meow. 100 pieces? It was an ambiguous number. The maximum number of people who can raid a boss is 50. However, as the raiding party gets bigger, the chances of getting good rewards from the raid rewards decrease, so it's typical to raid the boss with about 15 to 25 people. And boss raids usually take more than 3 hours. If we consider the full force of the Royal Knights Guild and the Wizard Guild, it would take about 20 people to take down the boss. This means that they would need at least 60 detoxifying green onions to defeat the boss on the 38th floor of the tower. However, they also have antidotes acquired from quests, and if they wear the venomous spider's sharp fang sword, they can reduce the number of people needed for the boss strategy to about 18. So, even if they secure only 50 detoxifying green onions, it's possible to beat the boss. We're in a better position. But how much money do we have? Leon's mind became anxious as he spent all his money buying the magical cherry tomatoes just a while ago. Jeffrey, gather up the money from the guild members here. Yes. Leon gave an order to the leader of Team 1 and contacted Deputy Guildmaster Catherine via his hunter phone to quickly send up the venomous spider's sharp fang sword. Leon's hunter phone was an expensive model that cost 500 million each, and it was able to communicate with the first floor through a special receiver installed at the guild headquarters. Today, our Phoenix Guild will raid the boss on the 38th floor. As Leon was preparing himself, I will now start the auction, meow. I will sell the detoxifying green onions in sets of 10, meow. As Theo announced the start of the auction, 50 tower coins for 10, 60 tower coins for 10, 70 tower coins for 10. The hunters from the Royal Knights Guild and the Wizard Guild started to aggressively bid, and the price of the detoxifying green onions began to soar. 130 tower coins for 10. 131 tower coins for 10. 132 tower coins for 10. The auction was fiercely contested without an inch of concession. And then, 155 tower coins for 10. With Leon's shout, the first set of detoxifying green onions went to the Phoenix Guild. Great! The following 3 auctions also went to the Phoenix Guild for 157, 162, and 170 tower coins. Just one more successful bid. However, 130 tower coins for 10. 131 tower coins for 10. 10 pieces for. Just as Leon was about to bid, the leader of Team 1 urgently stopped him. Jeffrey, what's wrong? Guild Master, we are short of money. Due to the rival guilds continuously raising the price, the Phoenix Guild, who had won at a high price, did not have much money left. 132 tower coins for 10. It's sold, meow. 135 tower coins for 10. It's sold, meow. In this way, the Royal Knights Guild and the Wizard Guild each won 30 of the remaining 60 detoxifying green onions from the money that the Phoenix Guild had. Darn it! Leon regretted that he should have bought less magical cherry tomatoes, but nothing could be changed. While Leon was blaming himself. Anyone who wants to take a picture with me, line up. Theo started his side job. With the magical cherry tomatoes and the detoxifying green onions selling at high prices this time, Theo, in a good mood, offered excellent service to the female hunters and ended photo time. Phew, I've gained 100 churu and 50 of what Sejun likes. I've secured 50 hours for President Theo's time. Theo happily put the rewards of his side job into his bag. And he looked around. But why can't I see Kim Dong-sik? As Theo, who had an issue to sort out with Kim Dong-sik, was looking around for him. Guildmaster, I brought the equipment. Thank you, leader of the 5th team. Kim Dong-sik, the leader of the 5th team, had brought the equipment that Leon had requested. Then I have something to see to. After ending his conversation with Leon, Kim Dong-sik hurried over to Theo. Kim Dong-sik, why are you so late? I've been looking for you. Theo was furious, stomping his feet. Today, he couldn't go on without Kim Dong-sik. I'm sorry, but I had a reason. Kim Dong-sik explained that he was escorting Sejun's family and gave a brief of the situation outside. Is that really true? Is President Park's family in danger? Don't worry. We are protecting them well. More importantly, do you have the answer to my suggestion? That's right. President Park agreed. Theo showed Kim Dong-sik 200 magical cherry tomatoes, 10 detoxifying green onions, and 15 golden sweet potatoes from his bag. These 200 magical cherry tomatoes are prepaid for 3 months. And he said he would give the other crops cheaply. Especially, this one is really good. Theo placed the golden sweet potatoes where Kim Dong-sik could see them clearly and spoke. Phew, if Dong-sik takes these, no one will know my mistake, meow. Theo was planning a perfect crime. What is this? Dong-sik checked the option of the golden sweet potato and the detoxifying green onions. As he had arrived late, he knew nothing about the detoxifying green onions. What is this? The detoxifying green onions were absolutely necessary to capture the boss of the 38th floor of the tower, and the fire resistance effect of the golden sweet potato could temporarily solve the curse of his master. I'll buy them all. I knew you would, meow. A good choice, meow. Theo, who had been anxiously waiting for Kim Dong-sik's response, spoke with relief. Each detoxifying green onion and golden sweet potato are 7 tower coins, meow. Really? The detoxifying green onion is D grade and the golden sweet potato is C grade, but they are the same price? Kim Dong-sik was surprised at the extraordinary price. That's right. I'm only giving it this cheap this time, meow. Theo, who had to destroy the evidence, sold the sun sweet potato cheaply. Okay. Kim Dong-sik willingly paid 175 tower coins. Then see you next time, meow. Theo hurriedly disappeared. It was to check if the people who were to give him his reward were well. Goodbye. Kim Dong-sik waved his hand at Theo, leaving with a bright smile. With this, I should be able to get at least 3 torture prevention passes from the master. Both Theo and Kim Dong-sik seemed to be in a similar situation. After finishing the deal with Theo and turning around, leader of the 5th team, Leon called out to Kim Dong-sik, who was holding the detoxifying green onion in his right hand, with a powerful gaze. And that day, the Phoenix Guild officially became the world's first to attack the 38th floor of the tower. Kim Dong-sik, who made a great contribution to the attack, was promoted to the leader of the 3rd team. Day 221 of being stranded. Russell. Sejun had been working hard to prepare a dwelling near the peanut field for the queen bee to emerge from its cocoon. Sejun carefully placed a branch-bearing cherry tomato flowers inside the dwelling and covered it again with green onion leaves. Then, chew. He quietly waited while chewing on semi-dried squid. Today, he stopped all activities, both building a house and farming on the surface, and made sure no one came around. This was because the queen bee would recognize the first creature it sees after birth as its master. As the afternoon came, buzz. A faint sound of flapping wings could be heard from under the green onion leaves. Is it awake? When Sejun carefully opened the leaves, his eyes met those of the queen bee. You have successfully nurtured the queen bee's cocoon. You have successfully made the newly born queen bee recognize you as its master. Your beekeeping LV3 proficiency has increased slightly. Buzz. The newly born queen bee rubbed its body against Sejun to show affection, then went back to its dwelling and started to suck the nectar from the flowers. Eat a lot. Sejun covered the dwelling with a leaf again and went down to the cave. You can go up now. Squeak. Pa! Upon Sejun's words, the rabbits, who had a lot of work to do on the surface, hurriedly went up. Then they went to the golden sweet potato field. If they hadn't planted the golden sweet potato vines in advance, the seeds would have disappeared. Theo must have taken them. Sejun pointed to Theo as the culprit. At that time, Quenji couldn't come down to the cave, so there was no other animal that could cause trouble. Moreover, the yellow fur scattered around the spot where the golden sweet potatoes had been solidified Sejun's suspicion. Just you wait. As Sejun was pondering how to deal with Theo. Splash! Squeak! The black rabbit and Quenji, busy hunting in the pond, came into view. Sejun's worry that Quenji would aim for the storage was unfounded. Quenji, a beast in its own right, preferred to eat what it hunted. Except for honey. Thanks to that, Quenji started to catch and eat prey in the pond right away, eliminating the need to move it to the surface. This reduced Sejun's workload and made things easier. Floor 75 of the tower. Theo arrived at the shopping district. The hunters court on the 38th floor had no money. So, he instructed them to earn money as he had a contract, and let them go. He couldn't carry humans around, so he planned to ask Sejun what to do in such cases. President Park will surely know how to get money from humans, meow. With that, he passed the problem of the hunters on to Sejun. Meow, meow, meow. And humming a tune happily, thinking he had completely erased the traces of his mistake, Theo strolled through the shopping district. I'm a fantastic wandering merchant, meow. With the money earned from selling magical cherry tomatoes and detoxifying green onions, he had a whopping 10,575 tower coins. Theo was filled with pride from his tremendous sales, and his shoulders were filled with incredible strength. But since he usually traveled unnoticed due to his size, no one saw him. Fortunately, the wolves were following Theo, so the merchants made way for him. Then, what's this, meow? There was a group blocking Theo's path. No, it was a small hamster. Don't you know who I am? Step aside. The chairman of the Wizards Association, Hamster Iona said to Theo. And do you know who I am, Meow? Theo looked at Elka with eyes full of expectation as if asking her to speak about him.